All right, guys, we've got our mini preview and season win total predictions here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is episode 26 as we comb through the entire NFL. Over under here, 8.5 wins, minus 150 to the over, plus 120 to the under. And we're going to go under here with the Steelers, fading a little bit of a hype team here. And let's go in and check out why. We'll start with the coaching. Mike Tomlin continues to get this team over 500 every year, it feels like. And, what more can you say? He's a little bit conservative, and we'll talk about that in a second. But they're a little bit conservative, just the way they kind of call games, it feels like. And also just in general, just a touch conservative for me. But, in the end, that experience, helps him win games. And that's kind of all you want out of a head coach there. Seems to be a people guy, and that's kind of what you need there as well. Offensive coordinator Matt Canada. Now, this is where things get a little bit weird for me. He had an interview in June where he was talking about he doesn't come in and just make the game plan and set the play calls and stuff like that. And that, I've had a tough time getting that out of my head, and we'll talk about it as we go. But that's so weird to me. It makes me kind of give him a little bit of a break. But then again, the play calling is... if it's him or if it's someone else. If it's him, it's a little bit weird sometimes. Early downs are kind of off. Efficiency in the run game is not great. But I have to lean toward giving him a pass because it feels like as an organization or just as the coaching above him or the people above him just want to play super conservatively. And if that's the case, I can't blame him as much as I'd like to. I just have to blame whoever's in charge of the offense. And Terrell Austin stays as the defensive coordinator. They overperformed last year. I'm not in love with this defensive roster this year. Defensive line's good, but everything else is kind of off, but we'll get into that in a sec. But he had a good year last year. Anyway, so let's jump into the roster. Kenny Pickett is the quarterback. Showed some flashes. I don't think I'm as high as other people are on his potential or whatever you want to call it. He shows flashes here and there, but he just kind of feels like a game manager to me. So we'll see if he takes another step this year. If he does take another step, that is obviously massive in where this team could go in the coming season. Offensive line, it has a couple holes here. Now, they kind of upgraded in some spots. Left guard, Samulo comes in. Very, very good last year in pass blocking especially. McDaniels, Cole, solid in the middle. It's the edges I worry about. It's the tackles. Okorafor was not great last year. And you also bring in a first-round pick, a rookie, and Broderick Jones, who's got the traits, and that's all good and great. But it's left tackle, a rookie in the NFL, and he only played one season at left tackle at Georgia. So I kind of worry about the bookends here, and if they're not holding up right, that could be problematic. Obviously, I'm not saying these are bad players or anything like that, but just potentially problematic here on the offensive line. Running back room is okay, I suppose. Najee Harris has just been inefficient. He's good at running where he needs to until someone kind of gets there. He's not wildly efficient. He doesn't, run past too many players, over too many players. It kind of just seems he gets to where the line pushes, and that's kind of where the play dies. Hopefully he can continue to take steps or take a step. So we'll see. Warren, solid backup. Really don't mind him. A lot of people call for him to start. We'll see about that, but he's a really good complementary piece. Wide receiver room, pretty solid. Deontay Johnson is good. Pickens, I'm not as high on Pickens as some other people, it feels like. He's solid, and he's definitely got the traits. I'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent this year, obviously. Allen Robinson comes into this wide receiver room, and he's kind of a question mark. Some people saw things late in the year, moving him around a little bit more at LA, but we'll see how they use him here. Depth, not great. There's a couple interesting pieces, but, it's a solid room. Nothing over the top great. Tight end room, solid. Freiermuth is good. Simple as that. He'll hope to take another step. Darnell Washington is an interesting piece. Gentry is a solid backup. So I really like this room, and potential for Darnell Washington, especially to kind of help out on the tackle parts in the run game. So that's very important on tackles. I don't grade super, super highly at this moment in time just yet. Defense. Defensive line is good. Cameron Hayward continues to play well. He's been playing well for a couple of years. Ogunjobi had a good year last year as well. Benton probably slides in here as well in the middle, and there's not a lot of depth behind it on the interior here, so don't really want any of them getting hurt or injured. It could be potentially problematic here on the interior edge. Really great. Highsmith had a breakout year last year. I'll hope to continue to build on that. TJ Watt is a game wrecker and someone who seems to be his injury health is completely correlated to how well the Steelers seem to play or how well their record kind of comes along. So obviously really, really good on the edge. So the defensive line is really good, especially on the front five. I worry about the depth is all. So don't want any injuries here. Linebacker unit, completely different unit. Devin Bush, Miles Jack, Spillane are gone. Holcomb comes in, who's solid but hurt a lot. Roberts, a good blitzer, but okay-ish other places. And Moose comes in, and he played pretty well last year, but really limited sample size, like 125 snaps. So a new linebacker room, which worries me. This is a Holcomb injury, which is potentially very prevalent here. If he gets injured, this could be a really, really weak room all of a sudden, and another worry here. Secondary is not too bad. It's the two different guys here, or two different groups I have problems with. Corner group, I think, could be a problem, period. Patrick Peterson comes in, and Cam Sutton's the guy he replaced. Forgot his name for a moment there, but he comes in for Cam Sutton, and I worry that this is more man. Simple as that. More man coverage, an older player who continues to get older at corner. Last year he had a really good year, and he had one of them, he continues to be ageless kind of years, but also he played a lot more zone and less shadowing, and I worry that every week playing the number one wide receiver on the opposite team could get to him as he ages, so I worry there. Levi Wallace was okay. He comes in. Joey Porter slipped to them in the draft. A lot of them had him going to the Steelers first time round. He slips all the way to the second round there, and I'm not saying Joey Porter's bad or anything, but this is a position that all the time rookies struggle to come into the NFL. This is the spot, corner. And with Pat Pete potentially being problematic, Wallace is okay. Joey Porter's going to have to play some meaningful snaps. And I worry having a rookie there, having an aged guy on the other side. I just worry about this corner group. I really do. Shannon Sullivan's decent depth, but I worry about this room. Safety group is good because he's okay. Keanu Neal comes in, he's okay. Fitzpatrick is really good. So the safety room is solid. It's the corner group I worry about, and the linebacker group. So this defense, normally, you think of the Steelers, think good defense. I worry that if the pass rush has an injury or they can't stop the run, I worry about, just in general, this defense. And yeah, so it's a bit of a step down for me on the defense. Schedule, it's not easy. San Francisco, Cleveland, at Vegas, at Houston, Baltimore to first 5 before the bye. That's difficult. A really difficult stretch. Some really good teams on here. I think Cleveland takes a step forward this year. The division in general is really, really tough. You'll be doing well to split with these three teams. And then you come out of the bye at the Rams, home to the Jags, home to the Titans, home to the Packers, and then home again, I believe, to Cleveland. So it's a nice stretch there, winnable games. The problem is if they're this conservative, they're never out of games, but they're never pulling away from teams. So big spreads, I worry about covering, and just in general. Then at Cincinnati, home to Arizona, New England, at Indianapolis, and then you finish off with Cincinnati, at Seattle, at Baltimore. So there's a world where you need 2 or 3 wins, or 1 or 2 wins over the last 3 weeks. You get 2 division games, and away to Seattle there, 2 away from home. It's a worry. We're going under. I worry about the defense. I worry about the tackles on the offensive line. Under 8.5 here for the Steelers at +120. And tomorrow we'll have a new team.